Big quarter out of auto retailer AutoNation this morning, guys. The company beat earnings estimates by 42 cents on the back of strong new and used car sales. AutoNation also revealed a new $1 billion stock buyback plan and said it fully exited its position in online car seller Vroom. Let's welcome in AutoNation CEO Mike Jackson for more. Mike, good to see you this morning. Big quarter out of AutoNation this morning, but some numbers that stood out to me here. The gross profit on new cars up 50% year over year, on used cars up 9%, really strong gains. How much pricing power do you have right now in this pandemic?
Well, good morning. It's delightful to see both of you. And it was our best quarter in the history of the company. And we see a significant increase in demand for personal transportation across all price points from $5,000 to $400,000. So while there is a terrific economic pain out there for America, there's been a prioritization around personal transportation rather than shared transportation. You combine that with very attractive interest rates, very affordable gasoline, and the fiscal incentives that are coming. The demand is exceptional. But AutoNation is even outperforming on that with our brand, our great customer experience, our digital capability, and we increased our pre-owned revenue by 12% in the quarter, even though the pre-owned business for the industry did not significantly increase. Now, on the new vehicle side, there is no question there's far more demand than there is supply. Production is disrupted, not only now by the pandemic, but a knock-on effect of the pandemic that electronic chips are very short supply, with the demand in consumer electronics competing with automobile manufacturing. So supply constraints are going to continue into this year, and it's really opaque as to when all that will get resolved. But the headline is demand is strong across the board, and AutoNation is outperforming in this very positive environment. Hence our confidence. We repurchased 7% of our outstanding shares in the last 90 days. And as you said, announced authorization for an additional $1 billion worth of share buyback today. And we continue our investment in the pre-owned business. We're completing 5 AutoNation USA stores this year and announced another 10 for next year.
Hey, Mike, I want to delve a little bit more. I know we're going to delve a little bit more into the chip shortage situation, but I do want to follow up on Brian's question about pricing. So just break it down for me. If I'm a car buyer this year and I come into an AutoNation, how much can I expect auto prices on average to go up this year?
Well, I think our average new vehicle price at the moment is around $40,000. Pre-owned, the average out to around $20,000. Now, the consumer is very focused. There's 2 other things that go into the answer to that question, both of which are very positive for consumers. One, their trade-ins are very valuable. So it's really the difference between what they're trading and buying that they're paying. So that's a positive. And most of our customers are financing what they buy, and the interest rates are very attractive. So while the price point is higher and there are supply constraints, when the consumer does the entire equation, there's a compelling reason to buy and to buy now. And you combine that with this streak of independence that the American people have and are saying, I want to, in the midst of this pandemic and what it's going to be like in the future, I want my personal transportation. I really don't want shared transportation at the moment. Hence, demand is extraordinary, and there will be supply constraints on the new vehicle side well into this year.
Hey, Mike, it's Myles here. You mentioned that there's some opaqueness around just exactly what the chip issue is, the chip shortage. But we've heard from every major OEM that it is pressuring their supply line. What is, in your estimation, the lead time on when that starts to show up on a dealer's lot, where they don't have the inventory they thought they're going to have because we've seen these extended shortages and shutdowns at plants and so on?
So we have been contending with this issue of production disruption for almost a year now. And what the manufacturers did when back when the plants first shut down because of the pandemic and then resumed, they might not have had all the parts, so they built the vehicles and parked them and waited for the final parts to arrive. This turned into a logistical nightmare. We had certain vehicles that were finished and we were told they were ours that didn't show up for 8 months until they could finally be completed. So the manufacturers have really stopped that practice now, and they really wait till they have all the parts before they produce a vehicle. But I have never in my entire career seen a more unpredictable situation as to what will be made when and when it will be shipped to us. So we've stopped telling customers with certainty when their vehicle will arrive. It's sort of like when it's on a truck on its way to us, that's when we believe it. Before that, it can either be canceled, postponed, parked someplace. And I don't even think the manufacturers, it's not that they're misleading us. It's like nobody really knows what's going to be available when. Because, it's a very complex global supply chain that's now been disrupted with two factors simultaneously. And they're sort of interrelated because people are investing more in their home and want more consumer electronics. So you have this competition for the chips, and the demand can't be met. So there's not much clarity. So the only thing I can tell you with certainty is it's unclear and is going to be unpredictable. And that's the position now, to be forthright with our customers, that we have taken.
Mike, I've always viewed you as a forward-thinking executive. And to that point, is AutoNation ready or discussing to start accepting Bitcoin for its cars? I'm sure have seen what Tesla has said. Do you think that causes a ripple effect throughout the auto industry?
Listen, I will concede that I could absolutely be positively wrong. And I would note that I served the Federal Reserve System with pride and honor for 9 years, ending up as chairman of the Federal Reserve for Atlanta. Listen, I am absolutely astounded and amazed what Bitcoin is worth today. And I don't know where it's going and what it all means. So I can't help you there other than to say, look what I do. I don't anticipate us accepting Bitcoin. And we really haven't had hardly any customers suggest that we accept Bitcoin. So we're good with the U.S. currency.
Fair enough, Mike. Finally, just quickly, wanted to ask you about Texas. I know you guys have a number of dealerships down there. We know a lot of people without power down there. I imagine some of your dealerships are affected. Yeah. What's the status of your spots down there? And is that going to have any effect on this quarter's earnings?
So Texas is one of my favorite states. And if I had life to live over, I might spend it in the great state of Texas. I love the can-do entrepreneurial spirit of Texas. And it's a very welcoming state. It's like you go down there and say, look, we're having so much fun, why don't you move here? That's the attitude in Texas. I don't encounter that in all states. And I think the two states that I have put at the top of my list with bright futures are Texas and Florida. Very pro-business, very dynamic, very entrepreneurial. So listen, I've walked the streets of Texas after Hurricane Harvey and the flooding. It was just horrific. But the way they rolled up their sleeves and helped each other out as neighbors was truly something remarkable. And the diversity in Texas and how they reached out every which way. So I'm sure we have no significant disruption with this storm. Compared to some of the other things that have happened in Texas, and they will work through this. No question.
Mike Jackson, it's always great to see you. AutoNation CEO. Next
Great
time
to
we
see
see
you,
you, maybe you'll have a 10-gallon hat on your head, repping for the state of
Could
Texas.
Could be.
Could be.
It'd be fine with me.
Sounds like that would be more likely than accepting Bitcoin at this point. Mike, thanks so much.
Exactly. That's a good call. You got me there.